ready, really preparing some of the tools that he'll use for the monitoring. And then when Doug and Bob are nice and close to the International Space Station, opening up the hatch and getting some air right between the hatch where Bob and Doug will enter the International Space Station. Everything's still looking good from the space station side of things. We should be exiting a loss of communication now and going back and getting some views from station. Still having great views from Bob and Doug incrementally. We'll be following right along through the duration of this flight until it docks just 19 hours from now. That's it from us in here at Mission Control Houston. Dan, I'll send it back to you over in Hawthorne.
All right. Thank you, Gary. Now joining me here in Hawthorne, though, we'll get her a second to get mic'd up and everything, but SpaceX's Kate Tice, who was with us for Demo 1, we got to do the splashdown together. Now we're going to do kind of that initial flight on orbit with Bob and Doug. So, Kate, thanks for jumping in.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everyone. I'm Kate Tice. I'm a senior engineer here at SpaceX. Really excited to be joining you for the Demo 2 webcast here with Dan, like he said, in front of mission headquarters here in Hawthorne. So, like he was saying before, Dragon is going to be performing a couple of different things going on in the next few hours. We're going to have 5 major burns, but at the moment we are coming up to the first burn, which is the phase burn.
And that's going to be, again, the first firing of those thrusters, those Draco thrusters. It'll be using both the forward bulkhead, so the ones that were uncovered by that nose cone, and also the ones around the service section or around kind of the bottom portion. And we've been looking at our timeline, and it's expected to last about 492 seconds is what they have it in there. So it's going to be a fairly long firing. And again, these are done just to gradually raise up the orbit. So essentially what we're doing is we're waiting until we're at the highest point of our orbit over the Earth. We're firing the thrusters, and that raises up the lowest point of our orbit. And then we just circle everything out with what we call a co-elliptic burn once we get back to that other side of the orbit. So they're going to just gradually do that over the coming hours until they're at the International Space Station. And then it's time for docking.
Yeah. So, like Dan said, we have a total of 12 a total of 12 Draco thrusters on board of Dragon. In addition to the 4 bulkhead Draco thrusters, which we'll be using upcoming, there are 12 more Dracos in the service section, which is the area along the lower part of the Dragon capsule. These will be used in every burn and are primarily there to help maintain Dragon's attitude, which is especially important when doing the finely tuned approach into docking. Now, they can also be used for smaller translational maneuvers, but right now we're approaching the phase burn, and that should be about 3 minutes.
Yep, so we're just going to continue to stand by, wait for that phase burn. That'll be the first major on-orbit event since they've done all of their checkouts and the nose cone is open. And then we'll be standing by. We should be having the first manual flight test coming up in just about 50 minutes from now, if everything goes well. So that'll be our first chance to watch Bob and Doug actually fly Dragon. And so, I mean, that's going to be really cool. Again, it's designed to fly itself the entire time, but it's the crew has the ability to step in should they need it, and they'll actually be stepping in and taking control. So they'll be flying a brand new spacecraft for the very first time. Yeah,
something that I like to remind my friends and family, as we've been leading up to this launch for the last several days, this is a demonstration mission, and so like that far field manual flight test that we'll have coming up a little bit later, Bob and Doug, they're test pilots. This kind of mission is what they live for. If I remember correctly, it was 1981, Shuttle Columbia